Hey, what's up? It's Jared with State of Tech, and I wanted to talk about the Amazfit Blip. I believe that's how you say it, Amazfit or Amazfit. This little smartwatch is actually pretty stinking fantastic for the price. Now, I saw this because I was just kind of doing a little bit of research on Amazon, and I came across this watch. It was $88 at the time that I bought it. I've seen the price kind of fluctuate, but I've never seen it over $100. Now, what's unique about this watch for its price, and it's not unique features essentially because most smartwatches have these features, but for a watch that's priced like this, I have yet to see any watches that really do as good of a job. Now, we're going to talk about the watch and then we're going to talk about the app a little bit. But first, with the watch, it has, of course, kind of like an e-ink type of display, and so it's bright at night. It actually is really bright, but it's super effective on the power consumption. Now, what I absolutely love about this watch is that it's lightweight. It tracks your steps. You can track your workouts and whatnot through integrated GPS with your phone. And it has an extremely long battery life. It also has a heart rate monitor. Now, most watches like this that have really long battery life don't have a heart rate monitor, and especially for the price point here. This watch, and I have a aftermarket band on it because I kind of wanted to make it look like an Apple Watch and see if I could trick people. Now, this band here is kind of like an Apple Watch, like sport type band, and it definitely has tricked people. People were asking me if I got a new Apple Watch because they hadn't seen this band, and this watch does look a little bit different than my Apple Watch 3, but people were fooled, and this is under $100, so not too bad. So the watch itself uses very little energy. Just to kind of talk about that a little bit more, the battery life on this watch will last you weeks, and that's one of the things that I think is fantastic about this watch. Now the battery is at 96%, and it has been 6 days. Actually, it's almost been 7 days since I charged this watch last. So at 100%, it was 6 days ago when that watch was at 100%, and it's only dropped 4% in the last 6 days. So one could say that this watch would last for well over a month on a single charge, which is crazy because it's tracking my sleep, it's tracking my heart rate, it's tracking my steps all throughout the day, and it's not using up very much battery life at all. And this watch is actually thinner than an Apple Watch by a significant amount and lighter weight as well. So let me take it off here just to kind of show you a little bit about it. It has the heart rate sensor here on the back. Now, it's not continuously checking your heart rate throughout the day like an Apple Watch or some Android Wear watches would, or some Wear OS watches would. You really have to kind of activate the watch and get it to do that. Otherwise, it's not going to. So what you simply do to do that is just tap on the button and then swipe over to status, and it will start to track all of that information. Now, you don't have to do anything for it to track steps or any of that stuff. It's consistently going to do that throughout the day, and then it's automatically going to detect when you're sleeping, and it's going to start to track that as well. And I thought to myself, for a watch that's not using very much energy, how could it be effective in tracking my sleep without me notifying it somehow? Now, it does a really good job. I've worn both it and my Apple Watch to bed at the same time and let both of them track my sleep, and they're both pretty much the same as far as the information that it's tracking. So whatever it does, maybe it checks my my heart rate or something like that, or it just feels for movement combined with my heart rate. It's doing a good job on tracking my sleep and even knowing when I wake up and get up in the morning. It also has standard features like being able to set an alarm. I think that that's huge for a smartwatch, especially one that has a battery life this long, is that you can set an alarm and it does vibrate pretty good. It's actually going to wake me up with that vibration, whereas using a Fitbit Flex, that vibration is not enough to wake me up anymore. I've become used to that amount of vibration, and it just doesn't affect me in the same way anymore. So this watch has a pretty cool feature there with setting the alarm. So beyond the status, it also can tell you the weather, so you can tap on the weather. I need to update my app in order to get that more specific. We have the alarms here. You can set multiple alarms and you can configure those within the app as well. We have activity tracking, and we can track activity. That's going to use a bit more battery life. That's why most people have said that they're going to get like, 2.5, 3 weeks of use out of this watch, because tracking the activity means constantly using processing power. And if you're not constantly tracking any activity, then it's going to last a lot longer. I haven't been going on any runs or doing any workouts with this, which is why I have so much battery life left. It also has a timer, so we've got a stopwatch and a countdown, which is great. We have a compass, and so you kind of have to do the iPhone thing where you rotate it around or whatever for it to calibrate. And then it will give you all of that information. So that's extremely useful to have on a smartwatch. And then you have some basic settings. There's different watch faces that you can configure. You can set what takes place when you long press the crown button here. You can adjust the brightness, power it down, and all that good stuff. So there's some cool features that the watch has that are fairly standard, but nonetheless, they are excellent features. The watch face that I'm using is just the standard one, which has the time. It has my last heart rate read, and then it also has my steps for the day, and that's really all the information that I need. Now, another thing that you can configure with this watch, if it's Bluetooth paired to your phone, is that it will vibrate when you get phone calls, and it will also give you your text messages. So what's cool is on the watch, you can see your phone call coming through. It shows the caller ID information, and then also with a text message, you can actually read your text messages. So when the watch is not in standby mode, which you get out of by just simply pressing the crown button in, I can swipe down, and there's do not disturb mode that I could turn on. I could see whether my watch is connected and what the battery life is. And then I can swipe up from the bottom to get my recent text messages or missed phone calls and stuff like that with a timestamp, which is all pretty cool. I can't respond to them or do anything like that from the watch, but it's definitely great for notifications. So I have an alternative band here. You can just simply snap that off just by simply pressing in, and I can take this watch band off. I thought it would be cool to kind of have something that made it look like an Apple Watch. This is the band that it comes with, which is pretty standard. It's not, kind of a no-frills nylon band. It actually is pretty comfortable, and it fits my wrist, and I have kind of a bigger wrist, and it's definitely adjustable down to smaller wrist sizes as well. And then, of course, there's lots of aftermarket wristbands that are out there. Pretty much any standard wristband is going to work on this watch, and I really like that because that means it's highly customizable. You could change out the bands and kind of make it a new watch almost every single day. So let's really quickly take a look at the app. I was pleasantly surprised with the app because you would think for a watch that's this cheap, it wouldn't have a very good app. I was pleasantly surprised that the app is optimized for iPhone 10, not letterboxed. How quickly the watch does connect and syncs over the data. It does not necessarily sync over the data consistently throughout the day. It is in like a lower power consumption mode. So when I open up the app, it goes and syncs that data. If you're constantly doing that throughout the day, it's going to drain your battery life faster. But I typically go in there maybe once every couple of days and let it sync. And I find that even some of my data had already synced over. So it probably even does that at nighttime. And I bet it even does that when the watch itself is connected to power. So here I can see my most recent sleep data. It's showing me that I got some points, 83 points for my sleep. My sleep was better than 68% of users, which is cool. It gives me some information about my rate of sleep and what time I fell asleep and stuff like that. I really like all of this information. I mean, this app is amazing. I'm kind of finding this information more useful than the health app that Apple has for the Apple Watch. The heart rate I can view, I can see the different heart rate readings, and I could even trigger a measure from the app if I wanted to. I can track my weight. I can set goals to reach and stuff like that, and unlock streaks and then share those on social media. So that's kind of cool. We have our activity, so I can even initiate some tracking of activities from the app. It's going to use the GPS from my phone and use the watch to read and get that information. And so that's definitely a cool feature as well. And then you can also have it automatically pause. There's keep screen on. There's stuff like that that's cool. It's going to use a little bit more battery life, but it's definitely really nice to have. And then your profile here, which allows you to connect with friends, tag some behaviors and stuff like that, add some different things in that maybe the watch didn't track. shows you your average steps, which I haven't been wearing this watch full time, so it isn't really tracking completely everything that I've been doing. You can add additional devices, pair some of their other devices that they have. So definitely well worth the price if you're considering getting a watch that is maybe a fitness tracker that has a couple of smart features. You don't want to spend a lot of money. This is a watch that I can't recommend any more highly. I've got links in the description below you can check out so you can see the price on the watch, see some of the additional features, check out some of the wristbands that I've looked into, including this kind of Apple Watch looking one. I think is definitely a cool watch band to add because it definitely makes it look like an Apple Watch on a budget, and you still get a lot of those cool features and even some kind of health related features that I think the Amazfit Blip does a better job of. They actually have other watches, some more expensive stuff and some cheaper just like fitness only trackers, but this is an all-around good purchase for the price and the features that you're getting, especially considering that you only have to charge it maybe a couple of times a month. That's a huge thing for me because I hate having to plug in multiple things at night, and I forget about my watch sometimes charging it, or maybe I forget the dock somewhere or whatnot. It's definitely a lot nicer to have something that lasts a long time. So let me know what your thoughts are on this watch. I think it's a fantastic smartwatch, fitness tracker, and all that good stuff. Sure, it's limited in features, but the price is extremely inexpensive. This is attainable for a lot more people, and also the battery life is just a game changer, especially for you more active people, maybe people who travel and don't want to have to take a bunch of cables with them. This is something you should look into. So check out those links in the description below. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when we put out more videos. That's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you back here soon on State of Tech.